Ethan Gray's life gleamed like a magazine cover, the kind of success people envied. His face graced business magazines, his tech empire dominated headlines, and his social media displayed moments of charm carefully curated to perfection. At home, however, the picture blurred. Clara, his devoted wife, moved slowly through their mansion, one hand resting protectively on her growing belly. The nursery upstairs was painted soft shades of cream and gold, waiting for a baby who kicked every time she whispered his name. But the house was too quiet, the silence stretched too long. Every evening, Ethan came home later than the last, smelling faintly of expensive perfume that wasn't hers. His phone, once left casually on the counter, was now always face down, locked behind new passwords. Clara noticed the change, the forced smiles, the distracted nods, the hollow "I love yous" that didn't reach his eyes. The staff had begun to whisper when they thought she wasn't listening. Vanessa Cole, the name clung to conversations like smoke. She was beautiful, young and bold, seen laughing too easily beside Ethan at business events where Clara was too sick or too tired to attend. Still, Clara clung to her faith in him. "He's just busy," she murmured to herself again and again. But as she stood by the window, watching his car disappear into the night once more, her chest tightened. Deep down, beneath the layers of denial and hope, she felt the truth pressing against her heart. Something was terribly, irreversibly wrong. Vanessa sprawled across the velvet sofa, one leg draped lazily over the other, her laughter echoing through the dimly lit penthouse. City lights shimmered below, but her attention was on Ethan's unlocked phone, and the flurry of heartfelt messages from Clara that she scrolled through with mock amusement. "She's practically begging," Vanessa said, her voice dripping with cruelty. "Are you coming home for dinner, love? How sweet. How sad." She took a slow sip of champagne, her crimson lips curving into a smile. Ethan leaned back, his tie loosened, his expression indifferent. "Clara will understand eventually. I'm building something new, a better future." His words lacked conviction, but Vanessa's laughter drowned out his doubt. "A better future," she teased. "Then prove she's not a part of it." Her eyes glittered with mischief. "Block her. Right now." For a moment, Ethan hesitated, thumb hovering over the screen as Clara's name blinked before him. Clara Redheart. A faint flicker of guilt crossed his face, then vanished as he pressed block. Vanessa clapped softly, triumphant. "There. That wasn't so hard, was it?" Ethan forced a smirk, though something inside him twisted uneasily. Clara's voice, soft, trusting, echoed in his mind. But he shoved the thought away, choosing pride over love, unaware that the small, cruel act would soon destroy everything he had built. The night feels endless for Clara. She sits curled up by the window, the soft hum of the city outside offering no comfort. The phone in her trembling hands lights up again. Call failed. She tries once more, desperation thick in her voice as she whispers, "Please, Ethan, pick up." But the same hollow silence answers her. She doesn't yet realize her number is blocked. She only feels the growing ache of being ignored by the man she loves. Her phone screen reflects her tear-streaked face, pale under the dim light. On the table beside her sits a half-eaten dinner she made hours ago. His favorite. She had imagined him walking through the door, kissing her forehead, placing a hand on her swollen belly, and saying he was just busy. But the hours crawl by, and the lie grows impossible to believe. Clara presses her palm gently over her stomach. "Daddy will come home soon," she whispers, her voice breaking as she forces a smile through her tears. "He always does." But even as she says it, she feels the truth settling deep inside. He's already gone. Across town, Ethan lies asleep beside Vanessa, his phone silent on the nightstand. The world outside remains still, but inside Clara's heart, something shatters quietly. The morning sun filters weakly through the curtains as Clara doubles over in pain, a sharp, unbearable cramp tearing through her abdomen. Her breath catches. Fear grips her chest. She reaches instinctively for her belly, whispering, "Please, not now." Sweat beads across her forehead as another wave of pain hits. Her hands shake violently as she fumbles for her phone, scrolling to Ethan's name. But the call doesn't even ring. Blocked, she murmurs, confusion turning to horror. She tries again, then again, until her tears blur the screen. Her heart races. She dials his office next, her voice trembling. Please tell him. I need him. But the call goes unanswered. It's Saturday. The empty ringing is deafening. Her breathing becomes shallow. Her vision swims. Clutching her stomach, she forces herself to her feet, staggering toward the door. Help, please, she whispers, collapsing on the porch. A neighbor spots her and rushes over, shouting for help. Within minutes, someone calls for a taxi, helping her inside as she winces in pain. Through it all, she holds her phone tightly, whispering Ethan's name between sobs, praying he'll somehow know. But miles away, Ethan is laughing carelessly at a pool party, champagne in hand, as Vanessa splashes him playfully, utterly unaware that his wife is fighting for her life and their unborn child. Bright hospital lights blur above Clara as nurses rush her through the corridor. Her breathing is shallow, her face pale, her hands clutching the thin sheet covering her. We're losing blood pressure, move. A doctor shouts. The room fills with urgency. The steady beep of machines, the clatter of metal instruments, the frantic rhythm of life on the edge. Clara drifts in and out of consciousness, hearing only fragments. Baby's heart rate dropping. Emergency C-section. Husband not answering. A tear slips down her cheek as she whispers, Ethan, please come back. Across the city, Daniel scrolls through his phone in disbelief. The story is everywhere. A pregnant woman rushed to the hospital alone after collapsing. A photo from the scene looks horrifyingly familiar. Clara! He breathes, panic setting in. He dials Ethan's number again and again, but each call goes straight to voicemail. Finally, he checks social media. Ethan's mistress just posted a story. Weekend escape, no distractions, kiss mark. Daniel doesn't hesitate. He speeds to Ethan's penthouse, heart pounding. When Ethan opens the door, groggy and irritated, Daniel nearly shoves him. Your wife's in the hospital. She almost died, he shouts. Ethan's face drains of color. What? He whispers, disbelief choking him. Daniel's eyes blaze with fury. You blocked her, didn't you? She needed you, and you cut her off. The truth hits Ethan like a bullet. His phone falls from his hand as guilt, cold and suffocating, replaces the arrogance that once defined him. Ethan's car tears through the streets, the city lights blurring past as he speeds toward the hospital. His hands grip the steering wheel so tightly his knuckles whiten. Every honk, every flash of a red light feels like time mocking him. The same time he wasted ignoring her calls, the same moments he spent with Vanessa while Clara suffered alone. His mind replays her last messages. Please come home. I don't feel well. He never even opened them. Now, each unread text burns in his memory like a scar. When he bursts into the hospital, the sharp smell of antiseptic greets him. Clara Gray. He gasps at the reception desk, barely able to form words. The nurse looks at the chart and replies firmly. She's in critical care. You can't go in. Ethan's chest tightens. Please, he begs. I'm her husband. But when he instinctively tries to call her phone, the words "number blocked" flash on the screen. His throat constricts. He's the reason she couldn't reach him. Daniel storms in seconds later. His face a mixture of fury and heartbreak. You don't get to cry now, Ethan, he spits. She needed you. And you were too busy proving you didn't. Ethan lowers his head, every word slicing deeper than any blade. He sits outside the ICU door, eyes fixed on the small window. Machines beep faintly from inside, each sound a fragile heartbeat between life and loss. Please, Clara, he whispers, voice trembling. Don't leave me like this. Not after what I've done. By morning, Ethan's world implodes. News outlets explode with scandal as paparazzi photos of him and Vanessa laughing by the resort pool flood every screen. The timing is damning. The images were taken just hours before Clara's collapse. Social media turned savage. Hashtags like #Justice for Clara and #HeartlessMillionaire trend worldwide. Ethan's name becomes synonymous with betrayal, greed, and cruelty. Investors begin pulling out of his company. Journalists swarm the hospital parking lot, shouting questions about his mistress. Vanessa, lounging in her designer robe, scrolls through her phone in disbelief. "They're twisting it," she cries, showing Ethan's photos plastered online. But when she calls him, he doesn't answer. "Ethan, we have to talk. We need to fix this before it's too late," she insists, but for the first time he silences her calls. Her reflection in the phone screen suddenly feels like a stranger, desperate, tarnished, and disposable. Soon modeling agencies cancel contracts. Luxury brands distance themselves, deleting her photos from campaigns. Her fans flood her socials with disgust. "Homewrecker," one comment reads. "Karma's fast," says another. Vanessa throws her phone across the room, her champagne glass shattering beside it. The woman who once mocked Clara now faces the same silence she once caused. Cold, cutting, and final. Clara's eyelids flutter open under the dim hospital lights, the rhythmic beeping of machines the only sound filling the silence. Ethan sits at her bedside, disheveled, sleepless, and hollow-eyed, a man stripped of every layer of arrogance he once wore so proudly. His trembling fingers clutch her hand as if afraid she'll vanish. "Clara, I'm so sorry," he chokes out, voice breaking under the weight of his guilt. She turns her head slowly, her face pale, her breaths shallow. "You blocked me, Ethan," she whispers, every word a dagger of quiet pain. "I called over and over. I begged you to pick up. I was scared." Tears slide down Ethan's cheeks as he bows his head, unable to meet her gaze. "I know," he murmurs. "I was blind. I thought I didn't need anyone. I thought power could replace love. I was wrong about everything." Clara watches him for a long moment, the man she once adored now reduced to a stranger begging for forgiveness. Her eyes soften, but her voice remains steady. "It wasn't me you lost, Ethan," she says, her hand slowly slipping from his grasp. "It was the man I believed you were." Her words hang in the air like a final verdict, quiet but irreversible, leaving Ethan to face the ruin he built with his own hands. The soft cry of a newborn pierces the stillness of the hospital room. A nurse steps in gently, cradling a tiny bundle wrapped in a pink blanket. "Congratulations," she says softly, handing the baby to Clara. Ethan's breath catches in his throat as he gazes at the fragile little life he almost never got to meet. His trembling hands hover near the baby, afraid even to touch her. Clara smiles weakly, tears glistening in her eyes as she looks down at their daughter. The infant's tiny fingers instinctively curl around hers, gripping with surprising strength. "Her name is Hope," Clara whispers, her voice filled with both exhaustion and peace. "Because she's what kept me alive." Ethan's chest tightens. For the first time, he truly understands what love means, not luxury or status, but the quiet miracle before him. He reaches out, gently brushing his daughter's cheek, his tears falling freely. "Hope," he repeats softly, the word trembling on his lips. As the baby drifts to sleep, the room feels lighter, filled with a fragile warmth. Ethan realizes that no amount of wealth or power could ever compare to this moment, the sound of his daughter's heartbeat and the forgiveness he knows he may never deserve. Weeks pass, and while Clara slowly regains her strength, Ethan's world unravels piece by piece. News outlets continue to replay the scandal, clips of his vacation with Vanessa juxtaposed against photos of Clara being rushed into the hospital. Sponsors withdraw their contracts, and investors issue public statements condemning his actions. "Moral integrity defines leadership," one headline reads, and Ethan Gray has none. His social media apology, filmed in his darkened office, goes viral for all the wrong reasons. The comments are brutal. "You blocked your pregnant wife. No excuse will fix that. You can't buy back trust. His carefully curated reputation as a family man collapses overnight. Meanwhile, Vanessa disappears from public life. Her modeling gigs vanish, brands terminate her deals, and her name becomes synonymous with betrayal. For the first time, she faces silence instead of admiration. Clara, on the other hand, begins to rebuild quietly. She moves into a smaller home near the coast, surrounding herself with peace instead of luxury. Every morning, she watches her daughter sleep, drawing strength from the tiny breaths beside her. Forgiveness doesn't come easily, and maybe it never will, but she's no longer broken. She's free, focused, and finally healing on her own terms. Months later, the media is stunned when Ethan Gray announces the creation of the Hope Foundation, a charity aimed at helping women who feel trapped, neglected, or abandoned in relationships. He names it after his daughter, a gesture that sparks both skepticism and admiration. Many call it a publicity stunt, a desperate attempt to rebuild his image. But those who meet him privately notice a changed man, quieter, humbler, stripped of arrogance. Ethan pours his time and fortune into the cause, visiting shelters and speaking with survivors. For the first time, he listens more than he speaks. When Clara hears about the foundation, she doesn't react publicly. She simply watches from afar, holding hope close, knowing that her pain gave birth to something that might save others. When they finally meet to sign the divorce papers, the tension that once ruled their lives has faded. Ethan's eyes are tired but sincere. "You taught me what love truly costs," he says softly. Clara smiles sadly. "Then let your lesson mean something." There are no more tears, no bitterness, just quiet acceptance. As she walks away, both understand it's not revenge that ends a story. It's redemption, quietly earned through change. Clara's new home by the coast is small but filled with peace, a soft contrast to the cold marble mansion she once felt imprisoned in. Each morning, she watches the sunrise over the ocean, feeling the salt breeze against her skin as baby Hope giggles in her arms. Life has slowed down, but in that stillness, she's rediscovered herself. Writing becomes her therapy, her voice finally unchained. Her memoir, Blocked, pours out every scar, every silence, every tear that once went unnoticed. When the book is published, it catches fire. Women across the world share how her words gave them the courage to walk away from neglect and find their worth again. One quiet evening, as the waves crash softly outside, Clara rocks Hope to sleep. Her phone buzzes with a message from Daniel, Ethan's old friend and now a strong supporter of women's advocacy. "Your story is changing lives, Clara. Would you speak at the summit next month?" She smiles, her heart full. "Yes," she types back, glancing at her daughter. "For her, and for every woman who thought silence was love." In that moment, she knows she hasn't just survived. She's rebuilt a life no one can take from her again. Years later, Clara sits in a sunlit studio, poised and confident as cameras roll. The interviewer leans forward and asks gently, "Do you ever think about the call he missed that night?" Clara pauses, her eyes distant but peaceful. "Sometimes," she admits with a faint smile. "But more than the missed call, I remember the silence that followed, and how it taught me to finally listen to my own voice." The camera follows her as she steps outside after the interview, walking hand in hand with Hope, now a bright, curious little girl. Their laughter drifts through the golden fields, pure and unburdened. Clara glances toward the horizon, the sun dipping low over the sea, her expression serene. Once she waited for someone to come back. Now she doesn't wait for anyone, because she has already arrived where she was meant to be. In peace, in strength, in her own story.